Citizens and residents of the Eastern Caribbean, good day. As Chief Justice of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, and more importantly, as a citizen of the Eastern Caribbean, I am deeply saddened by the natural disasters that have occurred in our region in recent weeks. On 6 September 2017, Hurricane Irma, a powerful Category 5 hurricane, tore through the Leeward Islands, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and Cuba, leaving a trail of death, destruction, and horror in its wake. 3 of the court's 9 member states and territories, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, and the territory of the Virgin Islands, were severely impacted by the passage of this catastrophic storm. The devastation in the Virgin Islands, which experienced the eye of the storm, as well as in Anguilla and Barbuda, was unimaginable, with deaths, large-scale destruction of buildings and infrastructure. Within 2 weeks of Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Maria rapidly intensified into a Category 5 storm. The eye of that hurricane crossed directly over the Commonwealth of Dominica, decimating the Nature Isle before moving on to cause more destruction in the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Hurricane Maria struck Dominica just 2 days before the court was due to host the ceremonial opening of the law year there. Not only has the Caribbean region suffered physical and economic loss from these catastrophic hurricanes, but the death toll is significant. Hurricane Irma killed at least 34 persons in the Caribbean, including an infant in Barbuda and 5 persons in the Virgin Islands. Hurricane Maria killed at least 27 people on the island of Dominica, with many still missing, and 45 more and counting on the island of Puerto Rico. On behalf of the Justices of Appeal, judges, masters, and staff of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, and on my own behalf, I extend deepest condolences to the families, friends, and loved ones of those who lost their lives as a result of the passage of these deadly hurricanes. Hurricanes Irma and Maria have been catastrophes of unprecedented proportions. The impact on the judiciary and the administration of justice in those affected islands has been tremendous and is still being assessed. Court infrastructure has been badly damaged. Judges have not only been displaced, but they have also suffered significant loss of their belongings and their homes. Some members of the court staff have been made homeless, whilst others have been left with nothing at all. Many law offices have been completely destroyed. Above all, this catastrophic event has left so many traumatized, and the long dark nights will forever be etched in the annals of their minds. Our brothers and sisters in the member states and territories affected are focused on their recovery. That is, the acquisition of food, water, and shelter, the basics of life. The aftermath of these killer storms, given the magnitude of the destruction, reveals that the road to full recovery will be a long and arduous one, requiring much patience, understanding, and a willing spirit of cooperation from all our fellow men. I take this opportunity to reiterate the court's support to the countries across the Caribbean region affected by Hurricanes Irma and Maria. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court stands in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the affected member states and territories. We will do all in our power to ensure that every effort is made to bring some normalcy to their lives, and we remain ready and willing to help in any way possible to meet their dire needs. Even with the difficult conditions on the affected islands, the court is committed to ensuring the continued administration of justice in those member states and territories. The governments and local court officials are working tirelessly to find physical accommodation and infrastructure to house court offices and courtrooms and to retrieve physical court documents. However, This has been difficult as many buildings have been left unusable and a considerable percentage of paper court files have now been lost, possibly forever. Nonetheless, the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court will take all steps to ensure that courts in Anguilla, Dominica, and the Virgin Islands are running at their optimal level in the shortest possible time by whatever means are reasonable and practical. In the interim, we have implemented systems to ensure the hearing of urgent court applications and trials from Anguilla and the Virgin Islands. Dominica, unfortunately, is still very much in the recovery stage, and assessments of court infrastructure and documents are ongoing. There are many lessons to be learned from these awful disasters, ranging from an assessment of levels of preparedness to our ability to respond quickly and effectively in times of adversity. This also brings into sharp focus the urgency with which the move to an electronic platform for processing, storage, backup, and retrieval of court documents must be made. The court has, in fact, commenced the steps for implementing an e-litigation portal. This portal will facilitate e-filing, e-case processing, storage, and retrieval. Already, the rudimentary e-filing measure for filing of cases via email for the temporary operations of the BVI Commercial Division in St. Lucia has been hailed by practitioners as a measure which has made the court process more efficient than before. Implementing such a system will ensure that court materials are preserved in times of disaster, and the administration of justice need not become uncertain following such catastrophes. In a previous address at the opening of the law year, I had asked listeners to imagine what it would be like if the doors of the court became closed. Hurricanes Irma and Maria have brought what we thought was only imaginable to life. It has become very real for our affected islands, leading to considerable fear and anxiety among our people. These disasters also highlight that in the course of increasing our dependency on information and communications technology, we need to ensure that there are backup and contingency measures with sufficient redundancy to allow for operations to resume as soon as possible in the event of a disaster. The reality is that Hurricanes Maria and Irma will not be the last. It is never if, but when will our islands be battered by another. Whether we are dealing with man-made disasters or natural disasters, the role of the court is integral and vital to upholding the rule of law. While such disasters bring forth from the depth of our souls all that is the best in us, in doing all we can to help each other to ease the pain and suffering, unfortunately, it also brings out the worst in some who would prey on the weak and the vulnerabilities created. But there should be no misunderstanding. Our islands are islands of law, and the rule of law will always prevail. The court is heartened by the support already being provided to the affected member states and territories by governments, the legal fraternity, and everyday people all across the Eastern Caribbean. But then I expect no less from us as Caribbean people who possess the innate ability to reach out to our fellow men and women with compassion in times of need. I urge you to continue to lend a helping hand to your brothers and sisters. I also urge you to support your court in its efforts to improve its processes through the use of technology. The urgency of the time to implement a fully operational e-filing and modern e-case management system, which the court has embarked upon, is now. I urge all legal practitioners and our governments to embrace and fully support our court in this move. It is one of the lessons from this disaster which can lead to one of the most positive and enduring changes for our small and naturally vulnerable economies. We all know that Caribbean people are resilient. I believe that the people of our affected islands will rally around each other, and they will rise out of the depths of their current despair stronger and forever shaped by the unforgettable experience of these horrendous storms. I wish to place on record our gratitude to the governments of the other OECS and the CARICOM states for coordinating and assisting with relief efforts. In particular, I express gratitude to our host government, St. Lucia, for all its efforts in lending assistance to our courts and our dislocated judicial officers. Finally, I pray that the blessings of the Almighty will continue to guide us, uphold us, and bind us together as this regional court binds us all as one people in the Eastern Caribbean in the administration and delivery of justice. Thank you.